Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to our Growth Accelerator series. For any of you who are new joining us for the first time, I'm Marina. I am the head of marketing here at Incendium, and today we're very excited to have Stevie Rhim with us. Stevie is the head of product and business development at Mach-AI. And since, a lot of the companies that we work with are early stage companies just trying to figure out how to go to market or scale their companies, we're very excited to have Stevie here so he can share a bit more about his company, but also walk us through a bit of his own journey with Mach-AI and how, how you guys have taken it all the way from just a concept all the way into launching it. So thank you so much for coming on today, Stevie.
Thank you so much, Marina. I hope my voice is okay. You can hear everything.
Totally fine.
Check. And also, just for reference, the company's pronounced Mach-AI, such as
Mach-AI.
Mach speed, yeah.
Perfect.
Speed of sound, yeah.
Perfect. Well, thanks for the quick correction. I know that you have a brief introduction you want to share with the company today, so I'll get that added in just so that we can walk through those together, and you can give us a bit of background about Mach.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm really excited to be here and want to tell you a bit about Mach-AI and our journey, and a little bit about the phenomena or the concept of project portfolio management, which may be a little bit unfamiliar with most people who are involved with regular project management. Yeah, so in essence, what we have created is a project portfolio management solution is designed to revolutionize how organizations handle their projects. The Mach-AI is not just another project management tool; it's an intelligent system that automates critical aspects of project investment management, roadmap prioritization, resource planning, and cost management. And our goal with the tool is to help project management leaders make smarter decisions and improve their ROI, reduce costs, maximize staff utilization and human resources, and basically just speed up or accelerate time to market through a variety of automation-driven levers that I'll talk about here in the presentation later. So if you go to the next slide.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, project portfolio management, it's a little bit, it's kind of I wouldn't say it's a new concept, but this is not really equal, it doesn't really equal project management. It sits above project management and integrates other disciplines to better inform users of the nuances that govern not only day-to-day project execution logistics, but also ties in other crucial aspects of business operations and processes, such as human asset, resource planning, financial components, as shown here in this slide here. So with these three kind of buckets, we do this in a unified platform that distinctly sets us apart from other conventional tools, which most people here who have engaged in project management are familiar. We focus on there's a strong focus on the financial health visibility. That specifically is a real big concern for C-suite level executives. So traditional project management tools often cater to ground level stakeholders, managing the day-to-day tasks, but Mach-AI will elevate the conversation to a more strategic, higher level. And then we provide a comprehensive view that allows you to prioritize projects based on strategic value, as I mentioned before. So if you go to the next slide, kind of getting into more of the granular, key differentiators of how Mach-AI is, how it dramatically improves the speed of project portfolio management is, there's many aspects of it. So let me just highlight 3 ways we do this. So we can reduce the time spent building spreadsheet models, which is, if anyone, all of us who use Excel, is a tedious and manual process.
For sure.
Yeah, and then it's prone to human error. You mistype a key or something, or you don't copy the formula over to the right cell, and it just breaks the entire thing. It's a nightmare, right? And then it just prolongs the entire effort cycle. So our platform comes built-in, pre-built with customizable models that you can just easily import your project data, like a CSV or an Excel file, and it populates, no sweat. So that can save hundreds of hours compared to just manual data entry. And then for the C-suite level, as I said, this means less time wasted on admin tasks and more time for decision making. If you go, next slide. We can help you create portfolio strategies rapidly. So the tool automates the scoring and ranking of projects in the portfolio and displays them in a very elegant visual, like on a dashboard, as seen here in the slide. So we've integrated financial models to evaluate projects based on the most popular metrics and KPIs like NPV, cost benefit ratio, and like payback period. These are all really important for the executive level, as I mentioned before. So again, the differentiation, we put these crucial financial KPIs front and center, allowing the C-suite to quickly assess the health and the potential of each project in the portfolio. Okay, so continue on, still talking about speed. We enable the creation of dynamic budgets for headcount. For instance, the HR department, right? You have to make a very informed decision on your hiring and how are you going to use these people, and then how much you're going to spend for on hiring or outsourcing third-party services or maybe contractors. So our system allows you to forecast your spend on the headcount and contractors, and it automatically through automation creates a budget plan that focuses on the investment on your highest level projects. So this feature is really crucial for C-suite level executives who need to keep a very close eye on budget burn rates. How much is left in this project? Are we going to run out of money? So that we can, they can ensure the resources are allocated to the initiatives that have the most impact, right? They don't want to waste time on stuff that is not going to really. It's a drop in the bucket. Okay, so if you go to empower. So this is really quite important, and again, the differentiation shines here. I think it doesn't help only with high-level strategy, although I've been emphasizing that, but it empowers your organization to execute effectively, and it really ties in, from ground level, granular level to the high level effort. So we help you convert strategy into day-to-day tasks for your staff. You can assign and track at the individual level, employee level, but at the same time, you allow employees to report progress and hours worked to managers. So Mach-AI ties the daily progress to organization level strategic goals, and it creates a clear line of sight from strategy to execution. The other traditional tools, you either have to make a choice. You have to focus on the granular day-to-day or the high-level strategic view, or you have to use two tools. So this is kind of like an all-in-one package, and this bridges the gap, and then empowers everyone in the organization from the C-suite down to the project team members themselves. Okay, so if you want, next slide. Okay, so just in summary then, Mach-AI replaces the manual error-prone processes with a sophisticated software solution. We simplify and accelerate the project portfolio management process, provide an intuitive interface that doesn't require you to really know how to use Excel, but of course it helps if you do, and it activates all levers to optimize your planning and execution. So this is not just a what's the word I'm looking for? Incremental improvement, but it's a kind of it's a hackneyed phrase, but it's a transformative approach to project portfolio management and not just project management. So yeah, this in essence, it's you go from an operational task to a strategic driver of business success. That's what both the C-suite and the entire organization, project management team needs with the tools they need to operate and optimize their investments.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Stevie, for kind of walking us through and giving us the context for your work with Mach-AI. I think the part that's going to be always most interesting and most relevant is just to hear a little bit more about your story. So I'd love if you can, I guess, just share how you first got started with Mach-AI, Mach-AI in the first place.
Mach-AI,
Yeah.
So, like many other startups, we started with just kind of vetting our concept through interviews with our personal network, who are in either the PMO, project management office space, or are dealing with collaboration tools. And there were plenty of these people, and we thought that this was our target market. And then within that mix of people, there were a lot of CFOs and VPs of finance. We started interviewing them, and they seemed to take a very strong interest in this. And we tried to continue our interviews to validate our idea for about 3 months. And when we had a broad direction of who our customers and their needs were, we started to build a marketing website using Wix, and we vetted the concept further, and we showed it to our friends and family network, our professional network, past coworkers, past interviewees, to validate and ask a simple question of, hey, does it make sense to use this? And do you find value in this tool?
Yeah. How did you even decide it was like time to actually build a prototype?
We did about 3 months of validating the direction of the concept, and then this is our discovery phase. So you basically take in all the feedback. You start to hear common themes coming from our interviews from people, and this basically became the map of our user pain points, right? So that's like typical product management 101.
Yeah.
Discover what problems there are, and are they worth solving. Then when we heard enough of these themes, these common themes, and then we kind of had like a base, right? And we started to hear fewer and fewer newer problems. So we thought, okay, this is what we got to work with, and this is what we're going to base our prototype on.
Yeah. Well, and I know that you've mentioned to me before that none of your team was actually made up of professional coders. So I'm curious how you got started building your MVP.
Yeah, that's right. Our team was mostly, or is mostly, finance and consulting professionals. I'm the engineer here. I have experience with hardware coding and also with firmware and some software coding, but really SaaS was not my cup of tea. But to overcome this, our founders, my co-founder and I, we decided to go with a no-code platform, which is kind of a popular paradigm these days, right? You can build up an MVP. It's kind of a low-hanging fruit. Get started and start vetting and trying it out. We built this with a no-code tool and got a prototype to vet our idea. We chose bubble.io. I think some of the attendees might be familiar with this. It's all-around no-code platform. The front web app is highly programmable and can execute business logic pretty well. There is a back-end database system, but it's not in any way, shape, or form a full database system, right? But they have APIs that allow data input and output with external tools and visualization packages. But yeah, so that's how we started. We used Bubble.
It sounds complex, so I'm curious, how long did it take you guys to build your prototype?
We worked on this, I think, for around half a year or more. But we had to learn first how to develop on, even though it's no code, you still need to know how bubble.io works. So it's just the basic logic of how an app would work. And part of that is just educating your team as well as yourself on how, if they don't know how to write code, or they don't know how to program, you still need to plan the overall logic and the architecture, design the front end visual style. That's kind of more of a UX CX type of mindset. And then the back end data tables requires a lot of expertise, or building up your data AI to build data tables and such. For example, when a user saves data in the app, what would the order be? In what order should the data be pushed to the database? Let's say, that's a very elementary problem that we really need to understand of how this entire flow and movement works. Or if a user signs up for an app, how will the app store store the passwords?
Right.
Yeah.
So, I know you mentioned it was maybe half a year up to a year. So a lot of startups go into a pretty lengthy, what you might call like a stealth mode, right? When they're, without testing the product with their target market. So I'm curious, how did your team resist that temptation to just keep building without ever showing it to the world and kind of getting some feedback there?
Yeah, so that's the magic point where you have to really recognize, okay, now it's time to stop. So it's really hard to resist the urge to make it an app or a software package more perfect. But it's the concept of an MVP, the smallest version or the leanest version of the app that would be able to allow us to get to the market and to our network and deliver on the value that we promised based on our findings, our hypothesis. So when we hit that, then it's okay, stop all work. So we decided that the expensive features we could skip in order to get the product out the door faster. And what's more important at that time is getting user feedback, because that's an iterative process of how you want to improve.
Right. Yeah. And you definitely, bury yourself in the long term if you keep building something that people don't want. What, when you started taking your product to market, what was the reaction?
So starting in the beginning of January of last year, 2023, we started to showcase the app to our classmates from business school. So me and my co-founder are both we did our MBA together, and then we just started socializing this within our network there, and also our mutual professional past coworkers started basically cold outreach and talking with them. And we were able to get the interest of 2 companies, but ultimately those opportunities did not come to full fruition, didn't pan out. But the feedback was good, that in that they said that, okay, hey, you guys are on the right track, and the concept, I think, hits home and addresses our problems that we're trying to solve. But then again, they also told us that it's missing a lot of features. For example, we had a Gantt chart. We had a Gantt chart feature that was good, but it wasn't polished. They told us, when managing projects, time tracking is very important. Do you have that function? We didn't have it at that time. Tutorial system to just basically onboard new users smoothly and with the least amount of hindrance or time to get get people trained. If you have video recordings of how to operate the app, that'd be great. So we had to invest time into making instructional videos. On the dashboard, like an overall summary on the health of the individual product, as I mentioned before, that's something that the C-suite level is really that really shines for them. They ask for this, and then whether or not they're behind schedule, heat maps of individual employees' level of utilization. So the list goes on.
Yeah. So with all of that feedback, how was your team able to take action on it?
Yeah. So that's the feedback exact kind of feedback that we needed. So we spent after we were able to release this MVP out, and then we spent the next half year building the missing features that everyone was telling us about to put it in. Then we went back and showed it to new potential leads. Again, our second round of feedback, and then refining, and then just basically polishing the product. And then the way we could tell that the work was paying off was that with each additional missing feature that we built, we would be more likely to invite it to a next round of discussions when we had a meeting. But then the stakeholders in this case were more senior members of the client's team, not just the ICs and individual contributors, but directors, and then even CFOs, CEOs, CTOs, and that really validated, they validated our hypothesis, I guess, our assumption that, hey, we're actually going about this the right way. We were making it to the next level of gatekeepers in order to get closer to the buyer.
Yeah. So as you're going through this, like pretty lengthy iterative process that you're describing, right, of getting
Mm.
feedback, building, getting more feedback, building again, did you have any big aha moments or, come to any huge realizations in that process?
Yeah, that definitely was. We around mid 2023 last year, we learned that we were in a class of products called the project portfolio management, which is basically what I was talking about at the beginning of the session. Right?
Mm,
It's kind of unique. It's not really project management; it's project portfolio management. So we didn't even know about this. We didn't really know what this product category existed, or if there was a term for it, because um, we thought primary users would be strategic finance and CFOs, but it turns out the right market was project managers and more specifically project portfolio managers.
mm,
And we had the help because my co-founder and other members of the team they come from a finance background, not really project management. And this was a blind spot for us. So knowing at that point what our category was also meant we could tell, we could identify who the competition is.
mhm.
And this allowed us to more deep research capabilities more deeply. We signed up with the competitive tools. We signed up for the free
Right.
trials, stress tested their systems, made note of useful features that we wanted to replicate on ours. And then, we had a clear definition of our target user problems and how our competition was solving them, and
Mhm.
became laser focused on the right features, building the right features.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm interested since you mentioned, a lot of this emphasis on what your competitors are capable of doing and what their tools are geared towards. As you were experimenting with them and testing them for yourself, how did you guys think about and land on your unique differentiators as a company?
Yeah. So that's a great question. And as you see, AI, artificial intelligence, is in the company name. And the more we learn about our users, the more we learn how existing tools weren't solving the root of the problems. And we learned that project managers needed different ways. They needed really good ways to save time. And the two biggest time investments for them were scoping out the staffing needs of the project and identifying specific employees to assign them to those tasks. So our hypothesized application of AI would be this. Imagine a project manager would be able to upload a written description of a project, like in Microsoft
Hmm.
Word or some type of document. Then Mach-AI would provide recommendations on how long the project should take, how many staff members would be needed to work on it, what specific roles and functions would be required, and then which specific employees would have the qualifications and bandwidth. And
Hmm.
then it would produce a Gantt chart where when to slot everyone in, and basically essentially uh, provide you the result would be a critical path, right? Which is the key for any type of project management. So AI would do
Hmm.
all this requirement scoping and teammate scheduling.
Yeah, so between, the time and the resources and the, human personnel, there's a lot of investment involved in taking this concept and building it into something, right? So what trade-offs did your team have to evaluate in order to even just decide, are we going to go in on this or not?
Well, there's always trade-offs when you're making product investment decisions, and we're still very enthusiastic about this value proposition. But then we saw that early adopters weren't looking for a very powerful tool as much as they were looking for a convenient tool. So convenience trumps power. And then we knew this because we started analyzing the data from the users, and all things were all signs were pointing to one thing, that our Gantt chart and UX was not up to par.
Mm,
No one really mentioned anything about the AI part. So, we focused on that, improving the Gantt chart and the UX. So without these improvements, we had short engagement times and early abandonment of accounts.
mhm. Yes, there were kind of more immediate down to
Yeah,
earth problems to solve off the bat.
that's right. Yeah, we spent a lot of time upgrading our Gantt chart system to address, the feedback, to address the problems that were in the feedback. And then, we discovered that, okay, we went with this no-code platform, Bubble.io. It's been working great, but in order to address those shortcomings in the Gantt chart, we need to actually complement this with JavaScript-based libraries on the front end UX. So we had to relaunch our app with the new Gantt chart,
Mm,
and then the results proved our investment was right. users are spending longer time engaging with our app, so the stickiness is improving. We get more referrals from other colleagues, from the users' colleagues. They're signed up for office hours to get training. They're calling us for support. That means they're becoming more interested in becoming power users of our app, and not just a fly-by-night one-time user.
Right.
And then they're asking about pricing. So that's a good sign of our business tier and our enterprise tier that goes beyond our freemium, the free model. So they're thinking about this long term. And then now we're getting about 3 to 4 new signups every day just through our marketing efforts.
That's great. Well, I know we're coming up on time a little bit. So one last question I wanted to ask to kind of round things out is, what has been the most important or lesson that you've learned so far on your journey of taking something all the way from concept into launching it?
I think this is something that everyone says, right? But don't be in a rush to make money. Short-term goals or short-term gains. Really focus on how you can be valuable to somebody, to a potential customer user, and preferably be indispensable to where you are not easily replaced. So the recent signups have told us that they don't have a lot of professional project management training. They just they were software engineers, or maybe they were doing something else in a different functional capacity, and they just got thrust into project management. So oftentimes people who change careers now have to do it. They get thrown into the fire and drinking from a fire hose. So I need a tool that will help me do my job well and shine in front of my boss and in front of the CEO. So that's what we're trying to address. Hey, we want to make your life easier without being overwhelming. So for these users, I think we're providing a lot of value to help them excel at their jobs. And then this leads to word of mouth, additional signups, referrals, and then only then will the opportunities to monetize will come about.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Stevie, again, for coming on here and joining us today. I know we're pretty much right up against time. So if anyone's either tuning in live and has any further questions, or if people are watching the recording in some capacity, I'll throw the contact information back up here on the slide. Again, just so people know where to reach out to. But thank you again for coming on. It's super great to be able to speak with you and hear more about your journey and get to learn more about Mach-AI. For everyone else, we are here every Thursday with the Growth Accelerator series. So tune in 12:30 Eastern typically every Thursday, and we speak with industry leaders about any number of topics connected to B2B growth. So thank you again so much, Stevie. It's been a pleasure talking.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.